Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox back for another episode, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have with me today Ernesto Gerardo. Ernesto, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to visit with me today.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Ernesto, can I first ask you where you are located today?
Yes, I'm actually in Austin, Texas right now, surviving this rainstorm that we had this morning and found out I had a leak at one of my properties. So this always happens on the Mondays. It's always right after the weekend. Nothing happened. And now all of a sudden, this whole crazy storm happened, but we're working through it.
Ernesto, you've got a really interesting background and current professional life, but I want to start by asking you tell us about your professional background and what you're up to today.
The professional journey has taken many different turns. It hasn't been a straight line to where I'm at. I don't think anybody's journey is really, right? But with mine, there was many different things and many different avenues that I've gotten myself involved into. Primarily, I started off as a martial artist most of my life, right? I've done the hard martial arts, which are like the boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai is my favorite, it's my specialty, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, wrestling. So I grew up doing a lot of martial arts, and at one point, I even owned a couple of gyms in California. I also lived in Thailand for a while, doing kickboxing and competing and training. All that discipline and all that focus that I had for martial arts, I transitioned into the business world, and I have a few different businesses that I run now. And I really try to help coach and educate all the different clients that I help, whether they're real estate investors or veterans or people looking to become entrepreneurs. I help them to the best of my ability to really give them that direction and focus and have them take massive action.
Let's talk about the real estate investment. You spoke about some of the joys of being a real estate investor in terms of
Mhm.
Monday and your properties. But if someone really wanted to start, I'm going to limit it even to Texas to get involved in real estate investment, whether they're in their 20s, whether they're older, how do you counsel them to start?
There's a number of different ways to start, right? It depends on a number of factors that I've experienced. I don't know if you can see, but there's these books behind me that were written by a man named Robert Kiyosaki called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he used to have an education based seminar series where they would go city to city, state by state, and teach a variety of investor strategies. For example, like subject to, lease option, wholesaling, pre foreclosure acquisitions, commercial real estate. So I went into that course because I grew up in a real estate family. My parents owned a seven house portfolio and a 7 unit apartment building out in throughout Los Angeles County, and I spent my summers and weekends as child labor, if you would, right? If I wanted to earn an allowance, I had to cut lawns and paint fences and get be a professional flashlight holder for my Mr. Fix It dad. So I grew up doing those things, and as I went through the Rich Dad education program, I've always been in sales. I've always been able to communicate very well. So it was very easy for me to learn the skills of networking, being a connector, and raising capital. Those are the main three traits that I still use today. Those are my main three traits that I do for all my businesses. Depending on your personality type, I always say there's a survey called the DISC survey, and it'll give you the different personality traits that you're particularly aligned with. If you're more of the analytical side, there's certain strategies that you'd benefit from. If you're more of like the networker and the communicator, and you're able to talk to a group of people and captivate them, then that's one skill set that'll lead to a certain variety of acquisition strategies. So it just depends. It depends on what kind of personality that you are, what type of person that you are, and then that's how you'll build and scale your business around that.
Let me turn to another component of your overall professional life, and that's working with the veterans community. And frankly, I find that the most interesting, most exciting, and the one I really want to visit with you.
Mhm.
In fact, you have a site called the Military Millionaires. So,
Mhm.
could you maybe tell us about that work and how you counsel veterans? Because once again, veterans can be from literally 19, maybe a little bit older, but up to their 40s. So, how do you work with that broad age group, and how do you help veterans begin to understand a potential real estate investment and how they can benefit that literally for their entire life?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start at the beginning with the Military Millionaires. So if you go to themilitarymillionaires.com, you'll see our basic course outline of what we instruct and what we teach every single, not only veteran, but military personnel, whether you're active duty or retired. these strategies apply to you as well, right? I have a soft spot in my heart for veterans. I myself am not a veteran, but my business partner, Cody, he's a 100% disabled veteran. My dad, he's a Green Beret, 100% disabled veteran. My brother is currently an officer in the Coast Guard. My sister is going to the Air Force Academy next year. So I have a lot of military family and a lot of positive why on why I'm helping the military community with my skill set and my network of other investors that are looking to educate and help veterans build businesses, real estate portfolio, and all the other things that we do at the Military Millionaires. The Military Millionaires, it really is a 5-pillar program, and it's all online. It's a 5-week coaching course that we help every single veteran or every single active duty member go and learn the strategies. And step number 1, we help them get up to 100% VA disability. And we're educating them and we're showing them how to do these strategies of how to file the proper paperwork, how to collect the proper documents, all that stuff. The reason why we try to help every veteran get up to 100% VA disability is because the amount just increased, by the way, but on average, it's about $3,600 a month in tax-free income for the rest of the veteran's life, which is a tremendous amount of money, right? If you grossed it up on an annual basis, that would be equivalent to $75,000 a year. So once you're also 100% disabled, there's other advantages as well. Like, for example, on your primary residence, you don't have to pay any state income, property taxes rather. So you don't have to pay any property taxes. And in the great state of Texas, property taxes are pretty high. So you're saving a lot of money not having to pay those. So that's what we help veterans in our first step, really take advantage and learn the strategies of how to get the VA disability rating up from, even if you have a 10% or a 30% or a 50%, and you want to get to up to 100%, we can help you, educate you how to do that. So that's one of the things that we do. And then number 2 is we help with the real estate acquisition strategies, leveraging the VA home loan. So the VA home loan was a no money down program. And then if you are 100% disabled, there's other advantages like no funding fee, quick closings. There's a lot of great stuff that you're able to do as a disabled vet as well. So the VA home loan you can use to buy up to 4 units of real estate. So a single family house, a duplex, a triplex, a quadplex, and many more are all options that you can use while leveraging the VA home loan. So that's another thing that we teach veterans how to do, is being that I worked for, and I still work for, a real estate education company. I wrote this book right here called Infinite Returns. And in the book, Infinite Returns, it teaches people how to buy pre-foreclosures, how to buy distressed properties, how to buy lease options or structured lease options subject to, stuff like that. So you're learning the strategies of how to get into deals with no money down while making a healthy return every single month. So that's why it's called Infinite Returns, because none of your own capital is invested. So part of that is using the VA home loan because it's no money down. The money's coming from the government and it's guaranteed money. So that's what we teach veterans, and how they can build a real estate portfolio, and they can buy a property every 7 months or every year if they want to, using the VA home loan and a variety of other loans that we help veterans get pre-qualified for. So I'm a national lender. I can help educate and help veterans get their pre-qualification ready. Usually takes about a day, and it's pretty quick. So I can help veterans buy their dream homes or their investment properties. So that's number 2. And then step number 3, we help veterans with investing for retirement. So most veterans don't know that they have what's called a thrift savings plan. So the TSP is something that every veteran gets nowadays. And when they leave the service, they're not really sure how to use it. So we educate them and we show them the best strategies of how to use that money. So then they're using it for investments that will be tax-free, and they can build their own wealth and control that money and invest it into things like real estate or crypto or private equity funds like we have. And so that they're able to take financial control of their future rather than some third-party brokerage that just will put it in a stock market and forget about it and hopefully it goes up. They're able to control their own future. So that's step number 3, is we show them how to invest their money and then how to properly not pay taxes so that they can save on that big bill, because taxes is one of your biggest bills for every person alive, right? And so that's what we educate on step number 3. Step number 4 is we help them with mental health services and brain cognition enhancement. There's a gentleman that I work with, his name is John Kennedy, and he used to have a government contract to help snipers and special forces with traumatic brain injury and just overall increasing their cognitive brain enhancement function, right? So we help them with that as a pillar number 4. And then lastly, I'm working with an organization called the C-Suite Network for pillar number 5, and we want to get job placement for veterans and veteran spouses. So we're launching a program to help them get a direct pipeline access to some of these career opportunities that will be presented. All of it is online that you can review on the militarymillionaires.com. You can schedule a time to speak with me about signing up if you're a veteran. And it's really an amazing course that we teach veterans how to really optimize their benefits to become a millionaire. And that's not just a marketing ploy. Like just the real estate strategies alone, in 1 year, if you do it correctly, you can have over $1 million worth of real estate. I mean, it's really a program that's been incredibly successful, and I'm very happy that we've been working on it and pushing hard on it.
Ernesto, you are also helping to work on the problem of veterans' homelessness. Could you
Right.
tell us a little bit about your work in that area?
Yeah, so every single veteran, no matter if we're on the streets or if some veterans go through a tough time with mental health issues, but all of them have access to the VA home loan, the VA disability, and then there's job placement services. If a veteran comes into our course, they're able to really turn around their life full circle. If they are struggling or in a not so great financial situation, we can really help guide them and get them out of a situation. Like if they are experiencing homeless, we'll be able to pivot them out and give them a framework where they can move into and get a career, get the VA disability, and use the VA home loan so that they can buy a piece of property that they can live in. And then additionally, and on top of that, I myself have a few properties in Florida where I do veterans housing, meaning I house veterans, and the VA pays me to house these veterans. So as part of the real estate education that you get with the Military Millionaires, you also learn how, let's say, for example, you buy a triplex with your VA loan, you have to live in one unit and you have to rent out the other two. Well, maybe one of your tenants can be a fellow veteran that you work with. And typically, when you have a veteran client and you're housing a veteran, they typically pay more than a market based tenant. And the money is coming from the VA. So it's coming from the government. So you get your money on the first every time. So that's how we're tackling veteran homelessness, by educating veterans on how to use their VA home loan, and then as a strategy, how to house other veterans to make passive income.
Are your services literally nationwide in scope, or are you focused here in the great state of Texas?
So that's a good question. It's nationwide. It's actually countrywide. It's actually worldwide, if you can believe that, because my business partner Cody, he actually lives in Germany, and he's the one that teaches the VA disability. He teaches how to take advantage of things like the foreign exclusion tax, where you don't have to pay taxes on your first $120,000 of income. There's a bunch of other benefits that he goes over that other veterans can do, but he lives in Germany, so he helps people here in the United States. So we are a global education company, but I live in Texas, and I read a statistic the other day is that there's over 130,000 veterans just in Texas alone, and only 10% of them are using their benefits or even have any knowledge of their benefits. Only 10%. That's insane to me, right? That they're not taking advantage of the things that they worked hard for, right? Whoever goes into the military personnel, veteran, active duty, you signed up to defend your country, number one. But deeper than that, you signed a blank check with your name on it for your health and overall wellness to the government, so then they can use you for whatever they need to in whatever job, whatever service. So it's only right that when you leave, and most of the time when you leave, there's something that might be some trauma, there might be some physical things that have happened to you, and it's only right that they pay you for your time and your pain and suffering, right? So it's not, I want to get rid of that stigma that of by asking for help is a sign of weakness, because it's not. It's you're taking advantage, or you're not even taking advantage. You have these rights that you're given and people have voted for and the government has approved for you to have this funding and for you to use these tools to build generational wealth for yourself. That's really what we push at the Military Millionaires, and we're trying to expand here in 2024 at a faster rate. But the great state of Texas is where I live, so I work with a lot of veterans here in Texas.
I'd really like to amplify on that last point you made very artfully and passionately. This is not a government handout. This is a benefit to a
Right.
veteran who had, as you said, literally signed over their life to the government for the government to see fit as they needed it being used, whether it be in country in Iraq or anywhere else in the Middle East or some other assignment. And that this was a trade off. You knew you were going to get the benefits, as you said. Congress has approved these, they've been written into law, and it's part of the trade off you make. And
Hmm.
there's nothing handout ish about it. This is, you signed up for this. We agreed to compensate you and pay you these benefits if you need them. And you're simply helping people take advantage of what the government has already promised them.
Exactly. And nobody, like I said, nobody leaves the service unscathed, right? You have a shoulder injury because you were in boot camp and something happened. You have hearing loss because you were working with artillery, and hearing loss doesn't get better over time, it gets worse. You have joint pain because you're doing field exercises and you tweak something, and that's only going to get worse over time. So, these programs are designed because they know that this is going to happen to the person, and there's pain and suffering that's going to happen to them in the future. So, therefore, they have the VA disability that they can take the money and be able to use the money to help them and help some of the injuries and pay for services or whatever therapeutics that they need to live a full life. The VA disability is incredibly important for people to know how to use it and how to really apply for it and then get the funding in. So, like you're saying, I want to get rid of that stigma. I know, trust me, I'm a kickboxer, I'm a martial artist. I know everybody's a tough guy. I know everybody thinks they can do it on their own, but there's no reason to, right? The government has plenty of money. They have hundreds of billions of dollars to send to Iran and Iraq and Israel and all these places. Hundreds of billions of dollars. They're turning the money printer on. For you, little veteran, with their $3,600 a month is nothing for them, right? So they waste money on. They love to waste money. If they're not going to give it to you, they're giving it to some other country. So why don't you get yours?
Ernesto, unfortunately, we are near the end of our time for this episode. But before we leave, I wanted to ask you if our listeners wanted any more information on any of the topics you've touched on, whether it be the millionaires, the military millionaires, or perhaps to schedule a time to talk with you or reach out to you, what would be the best places for them to go?
Yeah, if you go to themilitarymillionaires.com, I have the link here in my description. There's multiple buttons where you can schedule a Calendly. It's a Calendly link where you can schedule one-on-one FaceTime with me. Additionally, if you want to email me, it's militarymillionairesmethod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Military Millionaires Method. That's our handle. And yeah, follow us, like us, support us, reshare some of the clips. On there, we have veterans talking about their experience. So please follow us. If you want to chat, I'm here to help any veteran in any state, in any situation. I'm here to help them. So get in contact with me and let's set up a meeting.
Ernesto, I really want to thank you for taking the time to visit with me, and I hope we can continue this conversation.
For sure. For sure. Thank you, Tom, for inviting me on your show. And anytime we can come back and do it again, I'd love the opportunity. So thank you very much.
This is Tom Fox again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Innovation and Compliance. If you've enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll subscribe, rate, and review wherever great podcasts are listened to. Innovation and Compliance is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.